Mouse at? Where's my mouse at? For us, man. That's funny. Hold up. Oh, I didn't. Oh, yeah, we're good. That's a good comment right there. That's a good comment. Run it back, Nation. What is good? Yeah. Welcome to Run It Back Philly. And I thought today we will get back to what I specialize in, which is talking shit about the 76ers. Well, recently it's been talking shit about the 76ers. Actually, maybe it has been mostly the whole life of this YouTube channel has been talking shit about the 76ers. But it's because I want them to be good. I just want them to be good, man. Aaron Cabbage, what's up, man? Thank you for being here. Member of the channel. My guy, RJ, what up? Yeah. So I figured that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk some Philadelphia 76ers topics for you guys. And of course, last night, a Tyrese Haliburton performance has people talking a little bit about a what could have been. I'm going to discuss that. A Bill Simmons fake Joel Embiid trade that I haven't listened to. I know Bill Simmons is a 60-year-old troll and he's just doing it for clicks and views, but I respect it. Number one, he's basically laughing as he's saying it. He's not hiding the fact that he doesn't mean this at all. I respect it because it's funny and it gives me something to react to. So thank you, Bill Simmons, for the free content. What else is in here? So, I'll comment on the Sixers arena name change. And there is a Keith Pompey article where Nick Nurse talks about what the 76ers have to do to get back on track this upcoming season. My guy Jacob Moreno interviewed Paul George at some kind of charity event. We'll talk about what Paul George said about 76ers fans and whatever else you guys want to talk about in the chat. I want to say this before we get started. I have hated the 76ers for the past couple of months. But I can, as we get closer to the NBA draft lottery, I can feel the illness that is inside of me coming back to take over my being. You know, I think that the past couple of months really hating the 76ers, it's like I beat a terminal illness and I went about my day not thinking about this team. And as we get closer to the draft lottery, I can feel it's like the Incredible Hulk or something, when he can feel himself turning, or like a werewolf or something. That's what's happening with me as we get closer to the NBA draft lottery. I can feel my undenying 76ers fandom starting to come back and take over my being. And we'll find out if that's good or bad. Probably bad. But we'll find out. Yeah, let's start with that, actually, because Jacob Moreno posted it on his Twitter page. I wasn't going to talk about that, but we'll gloss over it. We'll gloss over it. I don't know if I've ever used that term before, gloss over it. That's pretty substitute teacher lingo. But I went to Jacob Moreno's Twitter page, writer for the Sixers Sense, to find this Paul George article that he wrote. And he retweeted this. The NBA draft lottery is officially scheduled for 7 p.m. on Monday. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. This upcoming Monday, the 76ers will find out their fate for the foreseeable future. What's today? Thursday? What's today? Siri, what's today? Today's Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We only have 5 days of stress-free life until we find out the fate of the Philadelphia 76ers near future. The NBA draft lottery on Monday. And the 76ers lottery odds, they have a 10.5% chance of landing Cooper Flag and changing the trajectory of what's been happening. They have the same odds for pick 2, 3, and 4. Pretty much 10.5, 10.6, 10. Why is 10.5 pick 2, 10.6 pick 3, 10.5 pick 4, 2.2 pick 5, 19.6 pick 6? That's really incredibly random. Why would they have a better chance of getting the number 1 overall pick than the number 5 pick? I don't know the answer to that, but that's the NBA draft lottery for you, folks. Who knows what it actually means or how it's done, but there you go. There's that. Before we get into this fake Joel Embiid trade and the other stuff, the Paul George article, the Tyrese Haliburton game winner last night, we're also going to revisit the potential that was Tyrese Haliburton on the Philadelphia 76ers in 2022. We're going to revisit that just for old time's sake. And I have some people on Instagram that have replied to a post telling me that James Harden was the correct choice at the time. Yeah. You would have to attach picks to get off Embiid's salary. We're going to see what he said, and you're absolutely right about that. Maybe. But before we get into that, do me a favor one time. Close out the chat one time and hit the like button. 108 people in here. Do me a favor. Give me 108 likes. That helps push these shows through the YouTube algorithm and bring more and more and more depressed 76ers fans to the show. And shout out Celsius Tropical Vibe. I am not sponsored. Pillow Talker 86. Man, we finna be taking all over again. Tanking all over again. I low-key needed therapy after the Andrew Bynum trade. This damn team gonna make me end up with the Schmeagles from Lord of the Rings type hair. I never watched Lord of the Rings. Dodging rocks for saying that. I never watched Lord of the Rings, so I don't really understand the reference. But yeah. Listen, I've been laughing about the 76ers for the past couple of months. That's the easiest way to deal with being a fan of this team right now, currently, is just to laugh it off, because I got to the point where it made me so mad, I had to sit back and say to myself, it's just a sport. Some asshole had a peach basket and was like, hey, man, I bet I could throw this peach into that basket if we hang it on a tree. And another guy was like, oh, yeah. And he smacked it out of the air. And he was like, that's illegal. And he's like, nah, it's called a block shot. And then they invented this game. And this is what we're mad about 1,000 years later. See what I mean? Put it all into perspective. That's what I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here to be your therapist. Anyway, let's get into it before this is a 2-hour-long show. Here's what Bill Simmons said on his podcast, making up a potential Joel Embiid trade. Now, first of all, nobody would ever trade for Joel Embiid without knowing if he's healthy or not, right? We haven't gotten... We know he got the second surgery. Okay, we're going to have to start to see, like, videos of him on the court playing or something like that for anybody to actually be interested in a trade. If he shows signs of potentially being healthy, there could be takers. But also, if Joel Embiid shows signs of being healthy, why would the 76ers trade him? You see what I'm saying? You would only trade Joel Embiid because we're like, dude, he signed until 2029. He's owed $69 million in 2029. That's insane. He can't get on the court. He couldn't get on the court last year. He's cooked. We got to trade him. Nobody's going to trade for him if he's cooked. But if he looks like he might be healthy this upcoming season, why would the Sixers trade him? And that would also require Daryl Morey to be reflective and, have a little bit of self-awareness. And he doesn't do that at all. He's a narcissistic maniac. Here's what Bill Simmons said.
I think Reeves at 14 and 15, when you throw expirings with him, you could get some really good players at that point.
Can you think of anything where if you're the Lakers, you go, now I have to think about this a little bit?
Embiid?
So they were talking about trading Austin Reeves as Lakers fans or from a Lakers perspective. And this is how they started talking about this.
Good players at that point.
Can you think of anything where if you're the Lakers, you go, now I have to think about this a little bit?
Embiid?
That's something the Lakers would like traditionally do.
Talk about get out of jail free cards.
I think the Sixers
were
do it in a second.
We'll give you all of our expirings and a first, and we'll get you out of the Joel Embiid business.
Would Daryl Morey do that? He said he thinks, okay, let's just listen to the whole thing and then I'm going to give my thoughts on it. I don't want to keep.
We'll give you all of our expirings and a first, and we'll get you out of the Joel Embiid business. Here's your get out of jail free card right now. You don't have to deal with them anymore.
I heard Embiid was available at the trade deadline. It'd be irresponsible to not even ask. Yeah, oh yeah.
Come on.
You think it's surprising that Daryl would potentially float the idea?
I just hadn't heard that. I was excited about the info. Yeah, so all right, that's my favorite Lakers move. All their expirings and 2 first-round picks, and they get Embiid. And Philly
so
just
not Reeves.
Reeves isn't in it.
Oh, Reeves isn't in it.
He's not in it. You don't even get Reeves. We don't know if Embiid's ever playing again. I'm like, I'll take Embiid. You can have one of our first-round picks, and here's some bunch of expirings.
I guess first we got to talk about, would that make any sense for the Lakers to do? You traded for Luka Doncic, right? He's 25 years old. Your goal is to move forward and build around Luka Doncic. You don't have a ton of time to do that because Luka Doncic isn't the most conditioned athlete in the world. I don't think he's going to age gracefully unless he changes a lot of the things about a lot of his daily habits. If Joel Embiid is healthy, yeah, that jump starts it. That gets you. I mean, if Joel Embiid's healthy, the Lakers would be a title contender, I guess you could say. You know, because and a lot of people don't understand what it means for, or a lot of people forget how good Joel Embiid is when he's healthy, right? And if he's cooked, right? But when we say if he's healthy, we're talking like dominating the NBA. That's what he did when he was healthy. We're talking like the most unstoppable one-on-one scorer in the history of the game, the highest point per minute in NBA history. We're talking like dropping 40, 50 points in 3 quarters and sitting out the 4th quarters of these games while also holding down the defensive end and being a paint presence to not just block shots, but make nobody even want to go in the paint. So, yeah, if Joel Embiid would end up being healthy, the Lakers would immediately be title contenders. You balance the Luka Doncic offense and lack of defense with Joel Embiid's presence and defense, and yeah. But if he's healthy, I don't even see the Sixers considering it. If some videos start to come out of Joel Embiid playing basketball, first of all, the whole Sixers fan base is going to erupt again, and we're going to be 100% back in. They're going to get us. They're going to just wait for it. They're going to get us. There's going to be a video at some point this upcoming offseason that's going to get us, and we're going to jump right back in. But he's saying it like the Lakers trading for him, not knowing if he's going to be healthy. Why would they do that? Why would you give up 2 first-round picks and pay Joel Embiid $50 million a year until 2029, actually $64 in 2028 and $69 in 2029? Why would you strap yourselves to 4 more years of max money if you don't know if he's going to be healthy? He's saying it. This is where it doesn't make any sense. And I'm not here to slander Bill Simmons. I know he's just saying it for fun, for a fun conversation. But he's not even considering Joel Embiid's contract. And he's basically saying if Joel Embiid's hurt and we don't know if he's going to be healthy, I'll give you 2 first-round picks and all of our expiring contracts for Embiid, and you get out of jail. That doesn't make any sense. I was trying to make this I was trying to see a way that this idea makes any sense at all, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for the Lakers if they don't know if Joel Embiid's healthy. They're not going to strap themselves to that money until 2029 when they're trying to build around Luka Doncic. That doesn't make any sense. And on the other side, if he looks like he's possibly going to be healthy, the Sixers aren't going to trade him. And so these guys saying, I think the Sixers do that in a second. Have you met Daryl Morey? You guys really think Daryl Morey's sitting around trying to trade Joel Embiid right now? It would have happened already. And this is the conclusion that I've come to over just the past couple of years of Daryl Morey. Before he was a Sixers GM, I felt like he had more of a quick trigger in trading guys before they're past their prime. I used to hype up Daryl Morey with his Houston Rockets years, how he turned over the Houston Rockets after the Tracy McGrady, Yao Ming era, how he flipped those guys and moved on and traded for James Harden and saved that franchise from tanking. I used to give him so much credit for not being a guy that sits around and messes around. And then he comes to Philly and he does the opposite. And he signs a guy who is inching towards a major decline and signs him until 2029. So, yeah, I don't think this makes any sense. But I guess we'll listen to... Well, did we listen to the whole thing?
First, and we'll get you out of the Joel Embiid business.
Yeah, see, who said Daryl Morey wants out of the Joel Embiid business? They wouldn't have signed him last offseason if they wanted out.
Here's your get out of jail free card right now. You don't have to deal with him anymore.
I heard Embiid was available at the trade deadline.
Look at that face. Look at that face. You made that up. You made that up, and you know you did. Because even Bill Simmons didn't hear that, and Bill Simmons, is the made-up rumor connoisseur. If there was a made-up rumor that if Joel Embiid was even rumored to be available at the trade deadline, Bill Simmons would have heard that. He didn't even know that.
I heard Embiid was available at the trade deadline. It'd be irresponsible to not even ask.
You just made that up.
Yeah.
Come on.
You think it's surprising that Daryl would potentially float the idea?
I just hadn't heard that. I was excited about the info. Yeah, so, all right, that's my favorite.
No, I don't believe that rumor, and I don't think that trade idea makes any sense. But thank you for the free reaction content in the middle of the 76ers offseason, Bill Simmons. We're going to have to ask the pick this year to get off of Paul George, so I don't know what the timeline can be given we punted last year, tanked this year, and have no hope for next year if it goes like that. I will say this. People that are... And I know you said that because you can't get off a Paul George contract, right? And again, both of these guys, they're untradeable unless they show some signs of liar, pants on fire. They're untradeable unless they show some signs of being healthy this upcoming season. So yeah, you can't get off of either contract. But since you said the first, anybody floating that idea that if the Sixers are in the lottery, there's people that have said we should trade our first round pick this year, attach it to Paul George just to get off the contract. That is insane also. Because now, you don't want to be stuck with the Paul George contract if he's going to continue to decline, or the Joel Embiid contract. But this draft could net you a franchise-altering player. You don't give up a potential franchise-altering player just to get off of a bad contract that you signed last year. So I don't agree that they should throw in their first-round pick for anything. We're screwed until 2029. Well, Alex, the only way out, the only way out is on Monday in the NBA draft lottery. The only way out. Now, let's talk about Tyrese Haliburton. Last night, Tyrese Haliburton and the Indiana Pacers had a ridiculous comeback victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers were playing without Darius Garland, without Evan Mobley, without DeAndre, I want to say DeAndre Hunter. Is that his name? That they traded for from the Atlanta Hawks this past trade deadline? But either way, I think it's DeAndre Hunter, but I feel like I got that wrong. Let me know in the chat if I got that wrong. But yeah, either way, the Cleveland Cavaliers were up by 20 points in the third quarter-ish, and they were getting a little cocky, You know, Donovan Mitchell was doing his thing. He was dragging the Cleveland Cavaliers through that entire game. The guy had like 45 points. I don't even think he left the floor. It felt like to me he played all 48 minutes. He was just battling and possession after possession after possession, getting hit, getting knocked to the floor, and just getting bucket after bucket after bucket. And, you know, trying his best, solo dolo, to deliver a victory for the Cleveland Cavaliers. 48 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 steals, a plus 13. That is an insane performance from Donovan Mitchell. But even so, the Indiana Pacers clawed their way back, and it came down to Tyrese Haliburton being at the free throw line, down by 2. And he made 1. No, I lied. Down by 3. He was at the free throw line. Was that because of an intentional foul? I would bet that was because of an intentional foul because there was 12 seconds left. I was watching it, but I don't remember an intentional foul. But 12 seconds left. He's at the free throw line. Misses the second. Gets his own offensive rebound. Dribbles out to the 3-point line and hits a step back game winner. That is wild. Fouling up 3 doesn't work again. Exactly. Yeah, that just happened the other night, didn't it? Was that the Boston Celtics fouling up 3? No, that was the sorry for my camera. Let me get it fixed here. What would running back Philly be without a camera issue? EOS. That was the Oklahoma City Thunder game where they were up by 3 and intentionally fouled. I forget what happened. Chet Holmgren went to the free throw line and missed both free throws, and they ended up losing the game. But yeah, Tyrese Haliburton, a ridiculous play to win the game for the Indiana Pacers. Anyway, it started the conversation among Sixers fans on Twitter and other social media platforms. It started the conversation about Daryl Morey and those rumors back in the day of him turning down a potential Tyrese Haliburton trade from the Sacramento Kings for Ben Simmons. The rumor was the Sacramento has considered packaging Buddy Hield, Tyrese Haliburton, Harrison Barnes, who was a great stretch 4 at the time, and 2 first-round picks for Ben Simmons, who sucked, was a bum, was a loser, and requested to be traded. Tobias Harris, who was on maybe the worst contract in the history of the NBA at the time. And Matisse Thybulle, who is a defensive back football player and doesn't know how to play basketball. You could have got out of the Ben Simmons debacle. You could have got off of the Tobias Harris contract. You could have got away from Matisse Thybulle. And you could have landed, at the time, 21-year-old Tyrese Haliburton, who anybody who knew anything about the NBA at the time knew his skill level. The Sacramento Kings at the time were forced to choose between De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Haliburton, and they chose De'Aaron Fox. You could have got out of the Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris situation simultaneously and got Tyrese Haliburton at 21 years old and put him next to Tyrese Maxey. But Daryl Morey had a love affair, a borderline psychotic stalking obsession with James Harden. Daryl Morey had a life-size painting of James Harden in the entranceway to his house. This is what happened. And there was a radio interview on 97.5 The Fanatic that I personally witnessed while I was driving my car, where Daryl Morey referred to this trade package as Sixers fans want me to trade him for quote-unquote random NBA players. I knew what trade he was referencing. Daryl Morey referred to Tyrese Haliburton as random NBA players. because he only knew James Harden. And so anyway, he turned that down, and he ended up trading Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 more first-round picks for James Harden. So you could have got you would have got Tyrese Haliburton, Harrison Barnes, and 2 first-round picks and gotten out of this terrible situation. Instead, you gave up 2 first-round picks to go get 33-year-old James Harden, who had just requested out of his second team in 3 years. Requested out of the Houston Rockets. They said no. He refused to come to training camp. He showed up to training camp overweight. People rumored that he had a fat suit on. Okay? That's a red flag right there. Why would anybody trade for him? The Brooklyn Nets did it. Ended up being one of the worst trades in NBA history because they gave up 5 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps for him. And he requested a trade a year and a half later. And the Brooklyn Nets said no, and guess what he did? He refused to come to training camp again. He showed up overweight. He did the same thing twice in 3 years. The only person left that would trade for James Harden at that time was Daryl Morey. He was the only person crazy enough and obsessed enough with James Harden to do that. Everybody else was like, hell no. We don't want anything to do with that guy. He's not dedicated. He's a known playoff choker. He comes to training camp overweight. He requests trades every 2 years. He shows up in the regular season and disappears in the playoffs. He won't stop partying in Vegas in the middle of playoff series. He got the Houston Rockets flight team to fly at certain times so he could go to his favorite nightclubs. This guy, nobody wanted anything to do with James Harden when he requested out of Brooklyn. And Daryl Morey did it. And guess what? A year and a half later, James Harden requested out of his 3rd team in 4 seasons. And people are going to tell me that James Harden was the correct decision at the time. Yes, he just averaged 25, 10, and 8 on the Brooklyn Nets in 2021 and was 13th on an MVP list. If you want to, he had a good season in 2021. But when Kyrie and Durant got out of there, he said, ship me out too. And then it went downhill. It's not about the numbers. That's the thing. Daryl Morey's the numbers guy. He only looks at numbers. He doesn't look at red flags. He doesn't look at personality traits and dedication and who looks like they really care and who looks like they're going to put in the work and the effort. Because all the red flags were there with James Harden and Paul George, and he signed him to a max contract too. But you can't tell me James Harden was the right choice there. Because guess what? The very next season. First of all, Tyrese Haliburton's rookie season, he averaged 13 points per game on 40% from 3-point range and 5.3 assists. Do you know how insane it is for a rookie point guard to average 13, 5 on 40% shooting from 3? The next season, he averaged 15 and 8.2 assists per game. Do you know how just natural facilitating ability a point guard has to average 8 assists per game his second year in the league? And then the Kings traded him. And the very next season, he was an all-star with the Indiana Pacers. At 20 and 10. 20 and 10. At 22 years old. He averaged 20 and 10 at 22 years old. And you could have put him next to Tyrese Maxey and maybe had him run with Tyrese. And don't forget, Joel Embiid's MVP season was 2023. Haliburton averaging 20 and 10. Tyrese Maxey averaged 26.8 that season. That was his first All-Star season. And Joel Embiid's MVP year? But no, you wanted playoff choker. That's what you wanted. Last night, Tyrese Haliburton hits a ridiculous offensive rebound off of a free throw, step back 3 to win the game, and gives the damn Big balls celebration. That's what you call a playoff riser. And shout out to Tyrese Haliburton, by the way, because he was voted by NBA players as the most overrated player in the league. And now he's putting teams away in the playoffs. And he's up 2-0 in the Cleveland Cavaliers. People didn't even pick them over the Bucks. I was like, they're beating the Bucks, dude. I had the Cavs over them. I didn't know the Cavs were going to be playing without Darius Garland the whole series. So there's that. But yeah, don't try to tell me that James Harden was the right choice at the time. I think that's ridiculous. Damn, fam, hop off his nuts. Hell no. Pause. Hallie is still overrated. Bro is absolutely cooking in the playoffs. And you're going to say he's still overrated. Unbelievable, man. I think it's hilarious you kids talking about Harden. You wouldn't say this shit to him. He's jacked. What the fuck? Yo! Wow, that might be the biggest Harden stan comment I've ever seen in my life. He's jacked. He wears the freshest clothes, eats at the chillest restaurants. Okay, you're joking. That's a troll. Okay, that's a troll. Never mind. Anyway, let's move on, man. Two more things. Sixers arena name change, and then we have an article where Nick Nurse talks about what the 76ers have to do to turn it around, I guess, if there's a way to do that. I don't really feel like there's a way to do that, but I guess we're going to see if there's a way to do that. Coming this fall, home of the Flyers and 76ers to have a new name, Xfinity Mobile Arena. I only have two things to say about this. I hate Xfinity Mobile. I want to let everybody know that. I had Xfinity Mobile. I had a couple of things that pissed me off. First of all, I've had Xfinity Internet for years. It sucks. Finally got rid of it this past year. In my area, Xfinity Internet was running so much slower than Verizon, it made no sense whatsoever, so I switched to Verizon. Two things. I had an Apple Watch a couple of years ago that I lost, that I was paying $10 a month for the data plan or whatever. I told them I lost it. It's gone. I bought a new one. They continued to charge me for the one that I lost and the new one for months, and I kept calling the damn place and nobody would listen to me. It gets worse. I switched my internet to Verizon, okay? The Verizon guy says Comcast is probably going to charge you a fee for canceling your internet where because they give you a discount on Xfinity Mobile, okay? And I'm like, okay, so I'm getting a discount on Xfinity Mobile now, and if I cancel my internet, I'm going to get charged full price, whatever. He's like, yeah, they're probably going to add $25 to your internet bill for canceling your Xfinity Mobile. That's a scam, number one. Number two, they didn't just add $25 to my internet bill, or no, the other way around. I changed my internet. They didn't just add $25 to my phone bill. They added $25 to my phone, $25 to my new Apple Watch, and $25 to the Apple Watch I lost years ago. They charged me an extra $75 on my phone bill because I changed my internet to Verizon. So, Xfinity Mobile, it's the shittiest company on the planet. And I feel like I at least paid, I contributed to this arena. I paid $75 extra that did not exist for this arena to be built. $75 of whatever that arena costs is I paid that. And by the way, there was no way out of it. I had to pay it because it's a scam. So this is the new scam arena. I mean, the whole thing's been named after Comcast for years, so, you know. Isn't that incredible? You scam people all the time, and you make enough profit to own part of the Philadelphia Flyers, the entire complex in South Philly, and they own the rights to NBC Sports Philly Flyers games and Sixers games. Unbelievable level of scam capitalism by Comcast. And now it is Xfinity Mobile Arena. I hate Xfinity Mobile so much because of that I hate the fact that this arena is called Xfinity Mobile Arena. I hate Xfinity Mobile. It pisses me off. So there's that. My second comment on this is I think it's funny because Josh Harris and the crew wanted to build their own arena in Center City. And there was all the backlash from Chinatown and all this stuff about the Center City economy and everything. And they still went through with it. The whole city hated them. They were dead set on building this new arena. Why did they want to do that? Because they were in part ownership with Comcast on the old arena. This is half owned by Comcast, half owned by Harrison Blitzer. They wanted double profits. They said, let's build our own arena and we'll make even more money because I don't know why, but we just need more money. But then the 76ers tanked on an epic level. And not only did they tank on an epic level and ticket prices dropped all the way to $1, Daryl Morey signed two of the worst contracts in the NBA that has this franchise strapped until 2029 and has the fan base completely uninterested. And can you build a brand new arena that you are funding entirely by yourself, where you will own 100% of the profits, when the fan base is not excited about the team? No. So they backed out of the arena deal and made a new deal with Comcast for a new 76ers arena in South Philly, owned partially by Comcast and partially by Harrison Blitzer. The Joel Embiid situation, the Paul George situation, literally put a stop to the 76ers owners building a new arena in Center City because the profits are declining and the interest of the fan base is so low. That is a miraculous turn of events, and I feel like it's the basketball gods. I feel like the basketball gods were like, billionaires want to build another arena to make even $1 billion more, and there's no reason for it, and you're hurting the community, and, Chinatown around there and everything else. Boom, Sixers suck, tickets decline, profits plummet, and you have to back out of the deal and make a new deal with Comcast. Everything comes full circle, man. Everything comes full circle all the time. I was going to say something else about that, but I forget. But anyway, I just think that's wild, and I hate the name Xfinity Mobile Arena. Are we calling the center the X now? I hate that name so much, dude. Ugh. Why does it have to be Comcast? Couldn't it be Mint Mobile Arena? Couldn't it be Boost Mobile Arena? Disgusting arena name. What else I want to talk about, man? Oh, yeah, let's read this Keith Pompey article real quick before I get out of here. What do the Sixers need to return to form in 25-26? Coach Nick Nurse explains. Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Spoiler alert, it starts with a healthy Joel Embiid and Paul George. I mean, Keith, if you want people to read the article, you don't put that at the top of it because we know the answer. It's Joel Embiid and Paul George being healthy. And then there's a big picture of Cooper Flag. So, yeah, to return to form, they need to have a healthy Joel Embiid and Paul George, and they need to land Cooper Flag. Those three things, what are the odds of those three things happening? On a scale of 0 to 100, I would say .00000000000000001. That's what I would say. Let's read the article, I guess. As the 76ers tread further away from their dismal 24-25 season, a journey that now includes a solid chance to keep their first-round pick. Solid chance? What did we say it was? What did we say it was? Where'd it go? What did we say it was? Like 10%? Hold on, let's find the percentages again. Solid chance. I mean, I guess it depends what you think solid is, right? Sure, 19.6%. Solid chance to keep their first round pick. Where'd it go? Here's what Nick Nurse said about it. I think that the game keeps getting faster and faster and more dynamic. Oh my God, bro. I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I took a break for a couple of months of reading stupid shit like this. And I read the first fucking sentence and I want to punch myself in the face. I think the game keeps getting faster and faster and more dynamic. So you guys extend a 31-year-old with one leg. You sign a 34-year-old who's been slowing down for a couple of years, and then you go and sign all the oldest, slowest players in the league? That's what you thought? In a league that keeps getting faster and faster and more dynamic? That's what you thought you should do? Get slower and older? Holy shit. Just for really basic things, defensive transition and defensive rebounding. Bro, how do we know more than these people? How do we know more than these people? He's just saying everything we said last year. Why are you telling us what we already know? We were telling you that last year. So Nick Nurse goes the whole season playing all the short old guys, gets absolutely smoked by everybody in the NBA, starts the season 3-20 and tanks unintentionally because he refused to play young athletes. Then he comes back in the offseason and says, just for basic things, you know, we're bad in transition, we're bad at rebounding, we need to be bigger, longer, more athletic, younger. Are you kidding me? How did it take the worst season we've ever seen for you to figure that out, dude? Oh my God. I think that's probably the answer that covers going into other things there. Attacking off the bounce, some of that kind of stuff, but that would be around especially the two, Paul and Joel. It's so crazy to me that we watched how this team got built and we watched how this team was coached this offseason. And 3 games into the season, we were like, where's Adem Bona? Where's Justin Edwards? Where's Ricky Council? Where are the young athletes that we thought were going to get playing time on this team? And he continued to play Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, and Andre Drummond. And then after a pretty predictable, horrendous outcome, he says all of the things that we knew he should have been doing all season. Oh my God, bro. This type of shit makes me sick. I think that's probably the answer, and we need a healthy Paul and Joel. Is there anything else that he said? We need Cooper Flag? Sure, we need Cooper Flag. Then he talks about, okay, here's something else he said. There's obviously a good number that need to get taken care of, get back to health. But obviously, Joel and Paul will be the big concerns. Can they get back and ready to go? And I guess we won't find that out for a little while, and then you start unpacking, and then you get back to thinking there's some really, really good players there and start piecing it together, and then we get ready to build out the rest of the roster around them. I got a question. How can you build out the roster around them? The Sixers are trying to rebuild a roster that was flawed from day one of the 24. See, this is another problem with this team and this organization. Every year they think we can just put together a championship roster. Daryl Morey thinks he's playing a video game. Who's winning right now? Teams that have been together for years. So if you built it wrong 4 years ago, you're still dealing with that now. But every year it doesn't work, and every year we have to try to rebuild the roster because the one that was rebuilt the year before ended up being terrible. Daryl Morey and his front office loaded up on older veterans they thought would help the squad in the postseason. That backfired as the Sixers were old, slow, and small. In addition to failing to stay healthy, the older acquisitions struggled to keep up with younger, athletic opponents. Isn't how is that not common sense, man? How is it not common sense that having the oldest roster in the league is going to be bad? I just don't understand how that's not common sense for anybody, let alone two guys that are supposed to be some of the best basketball minds in the world. I just don't understand. Is it not obvious that 25-year-olds can run faster and jump higher than 35-year-olds? I mean, look at yourself, Daryl Morey. Can you run and jump at all? At 60 years old? Actually, you know what's crazy? Daryl Morey's only 52. Daryl Morey's younger than Nick Nurse. Did you guys know that? Daryl Morey is younger than Nick Nurse. I just remembered that. But anyway, if you are 52 and you know that you can't run and jump at all, then you should understand age and how that works. You still need great players to win. All right. Well, Daryl Morey doubled down. I didn't think he was going to do it, but he doubled down. Wait, is this what he said? Did he say this recently? Did he say, no, this was at the end of his later trades in an attempt to get younger at the trade deadline. The same effort to rectify, please don't use that word. The same effort to rectify their roster problems shifted the team's focus to the lottery the final 2 months of the season. When did he say that? I think he said this. Elton Brand are finding picks, finding free agents, finding guys like that to fill it out. I think he said this at his exit interview, but either way, he doubled down on his whole philosophy that more star players is better than depth, even though he's finding out the hard way that the new NBA is defense, team basketball, and depth over multiple has-been all-stars. You still need great players to win. The history of the league is pretty straightforward in that you need great players to win, and then I feel pretty good about what Elton Brand and our staff can do in finding picks, finding free agents, Yabusele, finding guys like that to fill it out. Well, I gotta be honest with you guys. I can't believe I just spent 53 minutes talking about the Sixers. I thought it was gonna be fun. I actually did think it was gonna be fun. I thought I was gonna have a good time. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get back to, what I'm good at, which is talking about the 76ers. And then I started talking about it and started reading articles, and it made me very angry. And it wasn't fun at all. I want to find a way to have joy while rooting for this team. The only hope is getting lucky on Monday. And it's inching closer. I'll talk to you guys soon, man. You guys are the best.